We are live on Countdown to Kickoff. Coming up next, the Arkansas Razorbacks take on Tennessee Martin for the homecoming game on the Hill. We'll discuss how Arkansas can pull out that win next. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. I'm your host, Caroline Cobb. Today, I am joined by JT Bush and Jacob Aldama. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Good to be here.
So today at the University of Arkansas, it is homecoming. It is Halloween. Arkansas just clinched a big win over Auburn in quadruple overtime. I would say everyone's pretty excited about this game. What do y'all think?
Oh yeah, the momentum coming from last week's win from against Auburn. The Razorbacks are just coming in hot, and everything going on campus with homecoming, it's just got all the fans and everyone into it. It's going to be a good game.
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody's pumped. That win last week showed them that they could still get into a bowl game if they turn the season around. They'll be motivated. Hopefully the weather doesn't scare everybody away.
Yeah, for sure. So UT Martin is 5-2 right now. What do you think they're going to bring to the table?
Well, they're in the Ohio Valley Conference, so they play teams like Jacksonville State and Tennessee Tech. Their two losses this year have come to Ole Miss, 76-3, and Jacksonville State, 48-41. That loss against Ole Miss, they gave up over 600 total yards of offense. Got just pretty much demolished. But in all their other games, they've scored at least 28 points. So their offense is pretty capable. The quarterback, Jared Neal, he's dangerous. He can put up a lot of numbers and score a lot of points. So they may have some talent on that team.
Right. So Arkansas, they are favored to win this game. So Jacob, how do you think they're going to pull out that win?
Arkansas is going to have to do three things, which we saw last week in their game against Auburn. One thing we saw that I haven't seen this season was from Brandon Allen coming in clutch at the end of the game. A lot of fans, I'm sure, thought, because they've had the history of doing this, going into overtime, not too strong in overtime, and especially when our defense gave away 1, 2, 3 plays in the first drive in overtime to get the touchdown. Our defense is going to have to pull through and do better. They can't let too many yards. Excuse me. They can't let too many yards for rushing get past their defensive line in the second half, because they tend to falter in the second half, and Brandon Allen's just going to have to come through and play.
Right.
Yeah, they got to be confident in themselves. They can't underestimate the team they're playing, but they also have to know that they can do their jobs. I'm looking for a big game from either Cody Walker or Alex Collins. As running back, they got to take the pressure off of Brandon Allen. If they can balance the team out, then they'll definitely put up some points and hopefully help the defense. They got to stay on the field.
Yeah, for sure. Well, since this is the homecoming game, do you think there's going to be excess pressure today?
I think there's I don't think so really, because they've been in this kind of scenario before. Yes, the fans are all hype and everyone's crazy, but that's how college towns usually are.
Right.
And it's just going to be they should just think about it and come play just like it's any other game and just come to win.
I think it's a lot more positive energy instead of pressure. They feed off of this crowd, especially when it's packed out. In past games, they haven't really had a lot of competition in homecoming. The only one they've had was against South Carolina, and they got dominated, and that was because South Carolina was a really good team. But I think more the fans just give them the energy to win the game, hopefully motivate them.
Right. I think it's going to be a good game. Well, thanks for joining me today, guys. Coming up next, we find out what it's like to be the punter of a college football team. And up later, we discuss what Arkansas homecoming is all about. You're watching Countdown to Kickoff. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. Here at the University of Arkansas, homecoming is a lot more than just a football game. Maisie Vincent and Kylie Coleman will tell us more.
It's homecoming. We are so excited, and the excitement is real on campus too. We have so many activities. It's been quite a chaotic week for all of us. We've been planning activities from the 5K all the way up to the parade. That was last night. There have been endless amount of things going on campus, and the hype amongst the students are so real.
It's been great. The weather has been crazy, but that sure hasn't stopped our excitement. We were H sororities paired with fraternity. We've been pumping. Who knew rolling tissue paper would be so much fun? And the lawn decorations are absolutely great. You drive around and you see everyone's creativeness, and it just shows the love for the Hogs and the love for homecoming as the alum comes to town. We had the 5K, which was great. We had a huge can drive this week. And they announced homecoming queen last night, Rachel Reese of Pi Beta Phi. So it's just been a great experience coming together. And tomorrow at the game, today at the game, they will announce who won the banners and the lawn decoration, and it's just been a great time.
Awesome. Back to you, Caroline.
Sounds like a fun week to be a Razorback. Coming up later, wide receiver Damon Mitchell shares what it's not only like to be a college football player, but a father as well. And up next, Hannah Henderson goes in to find out what it's like to be the punter of an SEC team. You're watching Countdown to Kickoff. When you think of Arkansas football, the names Brandon Allen and Alex Collins certainly come to mind. But what about the guys nobody really talks about? Hannah Henderson went in to find out what it's like to be the forgotten one.
If I asked you who Toby Baker was, would you have any idea? Didn't think so. But this campus is full of geniuses. I bet they know.
I have no idea. Sorry.
Toby Baker?
Yeah, nobody really knows who we are.
Toby.
Toby
I have no idea.
Baker.
Is he a country music singer? I have no idea.
I'm Toby Baker. I'm the punter for the Arkansas Razorbacks.
What's a punter?
Do they really consider him a football player?
Yeah, nobody really understands.
Oh, that little scrawny guy that kicks the ball.
Oh, sorry, dude. You should have been a quarterback.
Just kidding, Tobes. We love you. You go punt that football.
Aw, poor Toby. Coming up later is the roundtable discussion on all things college football. And up next, Chandler Rack goes one-on-one with wide receiver Damon Mitchell. You're watching Countdown to Kickoff. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. Not only is Damon Mitchell a college football player, but he's a father as well. We send it over to Chandler Rack to hear how Damon balances it all.
Thanks, Caroline. Damon Mitchell, otherwise known as Doo-Wop, is a wide receiver for the Razorbacks and also a full-time father. Let's take a look. Gotta ask how you got your nickname.
When I was a newborn, my mom had already called me Doo. She thought it was a cute baby's name. And then later on, you know, when I became a toddler, I was sitting in the high chair and the Doo-Wop song came on the radio, I guess. She said I didn't budge to no music that had played that day. And then I just started to rock out, stood up, and since then I played football. Everybody's been calling me Doo. I've been stuck all the way to college, so that's what I'm known as.
So you've been like yay high ever since, been Doo-Wop.
Yep.
Hey, that's a great nickname to have. I mean, it's way better than, Booger or like something like that. So, well, that's good. And so we also know that you have a kid, so is he going to carry on that nickname, do you think? Or are you going to try and find one for him?
It's already kind of stuck on him because all of my teammates, when they met him, like DeMarcus Hodge, he was like, oh, look at Lil Wop. Hunter Henry helped my boy. And it's just like, oh, look at Lil Wop. He's like, yo, he just looked just like you, dude. And I didn't choose it. I call him Prince just because I was like, yo, like this kid's worth the royalty right here. And then everybody else just started to call him Lil Wop. So, I mean, I guess he got it. He stuck with it.
It's like the Lil Wop Jr. It's kind of got his own flow to it.
Yeah, he's actually the third. So.
Oh, there you go,
yeah,
the third.
Second, yeah.
Very nice. So is he going to be watching your game on Saturday?
He won't be in the stands, but he will be supporting from home. I get a picture before every game with him in his Razorback outfit. I posted one on Instagram and one on Twitter, different pictures. For each game he gets dressed up, so that's pretty nice to get before the game starts and pregame. Warms my heart.
Well, definitely. I bet that's an inspiration for you to kind of play for your son. You know your son's watching you, so it's a nice kind of deal for that as well.
Well, absolutely. I actually have a video of him saying dad like one time when he's in the car, the whole car ride, and I play and listen to that before every game starts. You know, it's kind of, my baby boy, that's my all, that's my everything.
Try and get you in the zone and everything?
Yeah, well, as a father, you got to find a way to provide. It just happens this sport offers opportunity after college for you to make a little bit of money. So, I mean, that's inspiration within itself right there.
Yeah, well, definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time. While his son remains in Texas with his mom, he's still cheering his father on every Saturday. Thanks, Caroline. Back to you.
Aw, well, it is always so sweet to see the personal side of someone we're used to seeing on the field. Coming up later on Countdown to Kickoff, it'll be time to make some picks around the country. And up next, Meredith Hayes leads the roundtable discussion on all things college football. Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. It is now time for the roundtable discussion with your host, Meredith Hayes.
Thanks, Caroline. I'm here with Hope Burrell and Bradley Board. All right, let's get started. First topic of the conversation, Heisman frontrunners. Who do you pick?
I have Leonard Fournette, and it's not even close. Every year there's normally a couple of guys. This year, that one guy that was even somewhat near him, Seth Russell for Baylor, is out for the year with a neck injury. Leonard Fournette is having an amazing season, averaging 193 yards per game for LSU, and it's just insane what that guy has done in such a short time there. And the fact that he has to come back next year for eligibility rules, he has to play one more year. That's just, as a fan of college football, you do not want to play LSU this year or next year.
Yeah, I agree. He's already rushed over 1,000 yards and has 15 touchdowns in 7 games. That's just, I mean, you can't compete with that. I think he's got it in the bag.
Absolutely, and not really having anything to do with stats. He's also a very classy guy. When they had to host the South Carolina game because of the floods, he addressed the survivors from the flood and the people who were struggling, and he even auctioned off his jersey as it was to help with the relief efforts, which is very classy. I'm a big fan of him. So now we go into the SEC favorites. Who do you pick to come out on top in the SEC?
I have Alabama. After everything I just said about LSU, I love Alabama's defensive front. It's just insane what they're able to do with an offense that under Nick Saban has probably been one of the worst offenses of his era at Alabama. But that defense is just completely insane. It's stopping people. We saw what they did against Arkansas. Arkansas couldn't get anything going, even though their defense, Arkansas's defense was stopping Alabama. And that's why Arkansas was in the game late. But Alabama is good. It's going to come down to next week when LSU plays Alabama in Tuscaloosa. But I think because it's in Tuscaloosa, Bama comes out to finds a way to win because that's what Nick Saban does, and they're going to win the SEC in my opinion.
Yeah, I have either LSU or Alabama as well, but I'm going to have to disagree. I think LSU is going to come out on top this time, but I mean, I can see it going either way.
And I'm on the other side of that. I'm with LSU. I think with Leonard Fournette leading that offense, and even with Alabama's strong defense, I think overall LSU has a better team. But we'll see. We'll see next week.
It'll be interesting.
And finally, we're going to talk about our top playoff picks. Who do you have, and what's the breakdown of that?
Well, at number 1, I have TCU. What Trevon Boykin has done for that program is nothing short of amazing. They have the best receiver in the country, in my opinion, in Josh Doxson. And I think they're going to win the Big 12 hands down, especially with Baylor having Seth Russell out for the year. Number 2, I have Clemson. What Dabo Swinney has done for that program also. There's always one game a year where everyone's like, okay, that's the game Clemson's going to lose, to where they don't get it. That game was Notre Dame, and they won it this time. So they're having a great season. I think they're going to win the ACC, and they'll be in the playoff when it comes down to it. Michigan State at my number 3. The magic for this team, if you saw that Michigan game like I did, it was insane what they were able to do. I think it's you can write it down as a team of destiny after that play. They're just going to keep on winning. I think they will beat Ohio State and win the Big Ten. And at number 4, I have Alabama. I think Alabama will beat LSU next week in Tuscaloosa. Again, that defensive front is amazing for them. And I think Bama will get into the final spot of the playoff.
Yeah, I've got kind of the same idea, but I've got a couple changes. I think number 1, Clemson will come out on top, and then followed by LSU and TCU. And then for 4th, I have Ohio State, which I actually had higher up until I found out about the arrest of J.T. Barrett, which is an interesting topic as well because he's actually only being suspended for just 1 game. But I think it'll be a good opportunity to see what Cardale Jones has in store as a backup QB to get to play and show what he's got as well. But along with just being suspended for 1 game, I think that'll be detrimental to the chemistry for the team. I think just the 1 game suspension, I think there's going to be more followed with that arrest than just that's going to bring him down to number 4 in my book.
Absolutely, and that is controversial because, I mean, we saw the Florida quarterback, Will Greer, that he's suspended for an entire year for failing a drug test.
Right.
And to only be suspended for 1 game after a DUI is unbelievable. But I actually have Baylor on the list, and that's because even with Seth Russell out, I think Jarrett Stidham is going to do a great job. He's 24 for 28 with 331 yards and 6 touchdowns with no interceptions. I think he's going to do a great job. But that's all the time we have for today. Thank you. For Bradley Board and Hope Burrell, I'm Meredith Hayes. Back to you, Caroline.
Thanks, Meredith. Up next, it is time to make some picks, so stay tuned for more on the Notre Dame versus Temple game. You're watching Countdown to Kickoff. We are back with JT Bush and Jacob Aldama. Happy to have y'all here.
Thanks for having us again.
Okay, guys, well, let's go ahead and start this off with Florida versus Georgia. Who's on top?
What do you think? I think I'm gonna have to go with Georgia because I'm gonna go with the underdog here. Grayson Lambert's had a great season so far. He's a 64% completion rating with over 1,000 yards passing and 9 touchdowns. But they've also got a back in the backfield that can run the ball as well. So you've got running back Nick Chubb back there on 92 attempts. He's got over 700 rushing yards, and he moves the chains. So I think I'm going to go with Georgia on this one.
Actually, well, Florida and Georgia both lost some of their key players. I thought Nick Chubb was out for the season, and Will Grier is suspended on PEDs. So they both lost 2 key players, but I'd have to give this one to Florida. They've had some impressive wins against Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Mizzou, and they're ranked 11th in the country.
Yeah, I'm also going to have to go with Florida as well. Who knows? Florida might even get a second shot with LSU in the SEC championship later if everything falls right. But okay, so we have Oklahoma State versus Texas Tech. Personally, I think Texas Tech has one of the best offenses in the country right now, but it's a big rivalry game, so it could go either way. What do y'all think?
Oh, I don't even know about this game. I think it's going to be a shootout for sure. Both teams have killer offenses, but I think I'm going to give this one to OK State because I think their defense is just a little bit better. They may stop Texas Tech a couple times, maybe get some turnovers, and it'll definitely go their way.
You have, I think I'm gonna have to agree. I think Kingsbury has a great team. He has a great team this year. You saw him earlier this season, the way he came into Fayetteville and beat the Razorbacks, and which most people weren't seeing that. But they've also got, I think OSU has just got the offense to bring him through, and because it's going to be a low-scoring game either way. But I think Mason Randolph for OSU is just going to pull him through.
Yeah. All right, so we have the big Notre Dame versus Temple game. Both teams are having a great season. Who's it going to be?
I mean, for me, I'm going to go with Notre Dame. I know Temple's the Cinderella story. Everybody thinks, they're the underdog and everything. And they've won every single game they've been the underdog in so far. But Notre Dame they're just too good. Their senior running back, CJ Prosise, is having a great season. He's at 100-plus running yards in almost every single game. Had almost 500 rushing yards against UMass, which Temple only beat them by 2 points, whereas Notre Dame beat them 62-27. So,
okay, I'm gonna go underdog again. I'm just to go against JT here.
I like that.
I'll say Temple's gonna pull it off. They've got a good quarterback with PJ Walker. He's got 59% completion rating this year. He's got over 1,000 yards passing, and he's also got. But he also uses multiple wide receivers too. Which spreads the ball out. And they've got a main one in Robbie Anderson. He out of 31 receptions, he has over 300 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. But they've also got a 2, 3, and 4 slot as well that he can throw the ball to. So I'm going to go Temple.
All right, well, JT, I'm going Notre Dame on this. The Irish are well rested, and they're as physically talented as any team that Temple has played so far, but it will be a really good game. And now for the game that we have all been waiting for, Arkansas versus UT Martin. Who's going to win?
I gotta call Arkansas on this one. I mean, I'm a homer, so I gotta call them. They're at their own stadium. It's homecoming. The motivation to win is just too killer for them. Their defense is starting to play a lot better.
Like we talked earlier, not just to go with Arkansas just because we're in Fayetteville. I'm going to go Arkansas statistic-wise. Yes, UT Martin is 5-2. Their loss to Ole Miss. They haven't played well against their strong out-of-conference teams. And Arkansas just coming off a big win last weekend against Auburn. SEC win in conference. 4 overtimes. The momentum for Arkansas is just too great right now. And with Arkansas seeing that they can rely on Drew Morgan and Brandon Allen late in the game, I think Arkansas is going to pull through easy here.
JT and Jacob, thank you guys so much for joining me today. And thank you for watching Countdown to Kickoff. Big thanks to our producers, Whitney Winkler and Davey Bullard. Enjoy your college football Saturday. I'm Caroline Cobb with Countdown to Kickoff.